Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tam Talks Tanks, and here are 5 aquarium hacks to make your life easier. Before we get into the video, if you enjoy what you see, then please consider leaving a like on the video and even consider subscribing to the channel if you really enjoy it. And without further ado, let's get into some hacks. Number 1, don't waste aquarium waste. You can use it. If you've got houseplants or you've got a garden or a lawn, whatever have you, use your aquarium water. It's fabulous. It's full of nitrogen compounds like nitrates. It has phosphorus in it. It's just liquid gold. It's a liquid fertilizer. It's fabulous for your plants. Try it out. Use it on your houseplants and I promise that they won't smell fishy if you've got a healthy aquarium. And if it's particularly nasty stuff that you don't really want in your house, it should be fine with your houseplants, but if you're really worried about it, chuck it in the garden if you've got one. You can use it, you can spread it across, just chuck it into your flower patches or your vegetable patches, or even on top of your grass lawn, and it will make it so green and vibrant and lush, and you might need to cut it a little bit more, but I promise it'll be healthy. Number 2, use a smart plug for your lights. It just plugs into an existing socket. You plug your lights in and it means that you have ultimate power over your lights. You can set a timer on them so that you don't end up with loads and loads of algae. It means that if you're not home for whatever reason, maybe you're away for the weekend or something, then you can just turn them on and off with an app on your phone. It's fantastic. I would totally recommend getting one of these. Number 3, I don't know how many times I had to learn from this mistake before I finally started doing it, but leave your plugs out when you're doing maintenance, because the number of times that I have forgotten to plug my heater back into the tank, and thankfully I noticed within a few hours, but there was one time when the tank got really cold overnight, but thankfully I had my panda corridoras in, and it was a species only tank at that point in time, and they can withstand colder temperatures, they actually prefer it. But oh my goodness, my heart, oh, it was such a scary time. So just leave your plugs out in the open whenever you do maintenance, and then that way you'll never forget to plug them back in. Number 4, if you've got multiple tank syndrome, there's a really cost-effective way to run several tanks. As long as they're, not too big and they're somewhat close together. If you have a sponge filter, or if you're running several sponge filters across these tanks, you don't need one air pump per sponge filter. You can use an air pump. Like, I've got the Eheim 400, I think it is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'll put it up on the screen. And that has 2 outlets, but if it only has the 1 outlet, you can use a coupler. So it's like a T-shape. Tip number 5, plants, 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 and more plants. Get yourself loads of plants. Set up your tank with loads and loads and loads of plants, and then that way you don't have to do so much maintenance, because like our first tip where we could fertilise our house plants and our garden plants with the wastewater from our aquarium, you can do exactly the same thing with your aquarium plants, except you don't have to move the water. So your aquarium plants will do exactly the same job. They will help to suck up all of those waste compounds in order to foster their own growth, and that really ultimately reduces the need for water changes. If you made it to the end of the video, congratulations. Haha! You thought that there was only going to be 5 tips, but actually there's 6. We've got a bonus. So my bonus tip, or tip number 6, I don't know how to count apparently, is to set up your aquarium in such a way that you can afford to neglect it, because we all know that life gets in the way sometimes, and you can't always be there to do a weekly water change or what have you. It goes back to our previous tip. Put in lots and lots of plants, and I mean lots of plants. Make that thing a jungle, because as we just discussed, your plants will soak up all of those waste compounds to foster their own growth, and it looks nice. It makes the tank a joy to look at when you have lots and lots and lots of plants. So make it a jungle, make it a really happy thing to look at, and your fish will thank you too. If you set up a little bit of a food web, like when you bring in plants, you're inevitably going to bring in things like zooplankton, which the fish can nibble on in between feeds. So I don't feed my tank all the time. I talked about it in a previous video. Go and have a look. Maybe I'll put it somewhere there, or maybe it'll be at the end of the video. But yeah, check it out. If you set up your tank so that it can afford to be neglected, then you're setting yourself up and your fish up for success. So with those 6 tips, I hope that you have a fantastic time keeping aquariums, and if you have your own little hacks, feel free to leave them in the comments. If I've not covered something that you find particularly helpful, feel free to leave a comment so that other people within the community can benefit from your advice. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Come here, there's a super secret bonus tip. You can use a comb to scoop out duckweed. Just like this, neither too big nor too small. Just enough. Just like this. The duckweed stays on, the water stays off, and you can put it into a container. If you made it to the end of the video, congratulations and welcome to the end of the video club. If you did make it this far, feel free to leave a fish emoji in the comments just to confuse everybody who didn't make it. Okay, and with that, I really have to go. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Bye!